Clive, thank you so much for the time. I know you're super busy, especially now while you gear up for your pre-Grammys gala. But I got to ask, how are you doing? How are you holding up? You said that you had a
Oh,
special.
I'm holding up. It's very exciting, and I couldn't be more really stimulated because it's shaping up so uniquely that I really feel contemporary music and its development and where it's at is being revealed here. So it's
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah, absolutely. Well, and it sounded like you had a pretty cool guest recently. You said Alicia Keys was hanging out with you recently.
Well, no, we just decided to spend the day together, and she really began her career up here. I'm in my weekend home, okay, in Westchester, and so she brought her two young sons, and we spent the late morning and afternoon until now really catching up.
Well, let's talk about your legendary Grammy gala because it's been going on for decades. But is there like a particular one that stands out the most for you, or was like the most fun or the most surprising?
Well, of course, what I'm involved with right now is unique in that it's virtual,
Mm.
and so we broke it up into two parts. And I've got to tell you that part one has taken off so explosively that, I came up with the idea, since we're not going to be together, inviting the same exclusive audience from Nancy Pelosi to Streisand to Apple's Tim Cook to, motion picture, the head of every music company. Um, so there were 2,000 people that RSVP, okay?
Mm.
And part one, I decided that I would choose some of the greatest performances of all time. And although many of us have seen a number of them, seeing them back to back really sends your spine tingling to the sky.
Yeah.
And then I knew it couldn't just be that. So I invited many of the artists involved to meet and chat with me and converse with me. And so, I chatted with Bruce Springsteen. I chatted with Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees. I conversed with Alicia in playing
Mm.
um, Alicia and Jay-Z's uh, great, great tribute to New York. And so that it just took off. I mean, it began with Sinatra singing New York, New York. And it included the Stones and the Beatles doing Hey Jude and Aretha's incredible Kennedy Center performance
Mhm.
of Natural Woman, where Carole King practically flies out of the balcony and President Obama wipes a tear. And then I chatted with Carole King. So whatever it was, it resonated. And it's led to part two, which is coming up this week. And I don't know, maybe based on what they saw in part one, I've got Oprah Winfrey conversing with me about Tina Turner. I have Elton John and Paul Simon and just an array, Queens, Brian May and Roger Taylor and Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters. I could go on and on. So it's seeing great music, historically great music, and then unique. I think I talked with the baby, okay? I talked with her, and her gives Anna's Prince and sings Nothing Compares to You, and so close to the heart. I talked with Joni Mitchell in her first live performance appearance. She chats, and then Brandy Carlisle sings A Case of You in her honor. And a lot of it will take place live. A lot of it, with the time difference, with Elton John in London and Queen in London, obviously it's 5 hours later.
Mhm.
So I've done some of it in advance, but it's real. new and exciting and hopefully historic.
Exactly. Well, it sounds incredible, especially with all this talent. I mean, like you mentioned, it's going to be really fun to see you interviewing so many people, but especially the live performances, and even the recorded performances. I've heard that you have several never before seen performances that we're going to see. How did you make that happen?
You know, you pick up the phone and you call, and I
Being
don't
Clive
know, it
Davis, I'm
wasn't.
sure helps with that.
So no one said no, and we have, we have some great performances, brand new, that will be very specially done Saturday night. Yeah, very exciting.
Awesome. When you mentioned Joni Mitchell, I know that it's funny, she seems to only resurface for you. How is she doing, and how much are you looking forward to sharing her first live performance in so long, or her first live appearance in so long?
It affects the heart. I'll be lying if I say different, and I'm not trying to hype this. I mean, Joni Mitchell probably had more influence on aspiring either musicians, composers, singers, just people who love music than anyone. So to be given the chance, what's tough is going to be to edit it down, because I just did a few days ago speak with Joni, and we spoke for a good 40 minutes, and to edit that down for Saturday night, I'm doing that tonight and tomorrow. It's just going to be so tough, because it's so revealing what inspired her, and whose music she listens to today. And if I accept an invitation from her, which she's wonderfully given me, to come to her home for dinner in front of a jam session, I want to know who will be there. I want to know who we're going to see, not as a condition, but I can't wait to spend the night with Joni, her music friends. It's going to be very special. So yes, I treasure this historically unique chat with Joni Mitchell, without question.
For sure. Well, I know that people are looking forward not only to the appearances, the interviews, the performances, but also just seeing each other. What is the dress code going to be like? Because it's cool to see people in their homes, but is it going to be like pajama chic? Are people going to be dressing up? What is that going to be like?
There's no dress code. The truth is, I'm wearing my tuxedo that I normally wear for my Grammy party, but without a tie. So I have an open collar white shirt, but I'm wearing my tuxedo because that's what we do with these pre-Grammy galas. And I don't know what my guests are going to wear, but I know who's there, and I know they're going to look good.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, it's going to be exciting even to see you a little bit dressed down, although still with your tuxedo on. That's going to be pretty cool. Well, I know that you're supporting, through this sort of part two, you're supporting the Grammy Museum. How important is it for them to have your support?
I've got to tell you, they're thrilled. And as I said before, this is a two-part gala where Bruce Springsteen and Alicia and the Bee Gees appeared in part one. That all honored Music Cares, and the response has been phenomenal. And part two will honor the Grammy Museum. So yes, we hope to look. A Grammy Museum is essential for all of us in music and the public as well. So I think the cause is great. And just in the last 2 days, we've gotten a ton of inquiries from streamers who say that this is making history, what is taking place here, and they want to bring it around the world. It's all for charity. It's all going to be for Music Cares and the Grammy Museum. But hopefully it won't just be for, even though the guests are so illustrious, that it will be seen by everybody around the world, because me talking with Berry Gordy about Diana Ross, me talking what he felt like when Diana and the Supremes broke up, and comparing notes with Berry when Paul Simon and Simon and Garfunkel broke up, or me talking to Elton and saying, the day we met, remember, Elton, we had dinner. And I ring the bell of your hotel room going back to 1972. And I come, it was a Tuesday night, and I come with 7 Columbia albums that were released that day. I put it in a gift wrap package. You open it up, you gently unpack it, and you say, Clive, I have all 7 albums. I was stunned, but it showed your hunger. You had gone to Sam Goody, the famous record store in New York. You had bought, you buy every new release. What happens today? I mean, do you have that same hunger today? Do you on album release day? You'll have to see the program to find out his answer, but it's not normal. I asked the baby, the day your first album went to #1, regretfully, it coincided with the death of your father. Such a bittersweet memory. And he talks about that, and talks about his personal life, and talks about his family and his career, so that it runs the gamut, you know, from Oprah talking about Tina Turner to Elton John and Berry Gordy and Santana and to Baby and her. So I'm proud of it. We're making it as you and I talk. I'll be working around the clock until we unveil it on Saturday.
Oh my, you're leaving me with this huge cliffhanger, Clive. My gosh, like all this stuff that's about to happen. Like now I have to know. That's incredible. But that's the kind of, that's the kind of thing that people want to hear and people want to learn about. But also, I mean, even in addition to, you know, it's so exciting that you're going to be able to still do this, that you did part 1 and part 2 virtually. But I know people are looking forward to just seeing each other in person again. I mean, are you ready for some live music and to finally be able to like give some people some hugs and some handshakes again?
Oh, without question. I mean, are you kidding? Without question. The pandemic has been stultifying and unnatural, whether you're in or out of music, for all of us to live through this very difficult period. But music will rebound. I can't wait for all of us to be together at some of the great concerts. I have a lot of plans in that respect, and you know, I'm looking forward to the day being nearer rather than further.
For sure. Well, you said you have a lot of plans. What kind of plans do you have? Can you share anything?
Well, I'm making the plans right now. How to have exciting concerts, different than anyone maybe, excuse me, different from anything anyone's seen. So I'm hoping to put together some of that and work with those that do that for a living. But we can't wait, you know, I mean, with my Grammy party, are you kidding? For 45 years, I've been like, I was with Socially Alicia today, and I remember we were reminiscing when I said, Alicia, now that you won all the Grammys, now that your album has sold 15 million copies, what's your next biggest dream? And Alicia said, then my dream is to share the stage with Aretha Franklin. And I'd love somehow at your Grammy party or elsewhere to be on stage with Aretha. And I did arrange that. And at one of my Grammy parties, you know, we do have, you asked me about my memories from the live Grammy parties. Oh my God, it's Alicia performing with, you know, with Aretha Franklin. It's Rod Stewart with Lou Reed and Slash. It's Barry Manilow and Jennifer Hudson singing Weekend in New England. It's Whitney year after year bringing the house down as only she could. Unbelievable memories. When I left Arista and she sang to me, I Will Always Love You. And, you know, I mean, special memories, special evenings.
Yeah. Well, and you have so many more memories to make coming up in 2022 when we return, hopefully, back to live events again. Well, and speaking of planning big events, you have a pretty big celebration coming up next year. You have a big birthday. Are you planning a celebration for that? I mean, 90 is a big birthday.
Let me tell all of you who are much younger, it comes upon you without you being aware of it. The years go by so quickly. I'm blessed that I can still chat with the baby, chat with Alicia and Puffy, and chat with all my friends. So
yeah,
my parents died when I was 18. Okay, so I'm blessed that I'm able to still be very active. Just take every day as it comes, every year as it comes. I have 4 children. I have 8 grandchildren. I view family very specially. So fingers crossed, you take a day at a time and make it as fulfilling, as adventurous as you can.
absolutely. Well, clearly you've done that because you've accomplished so much in your lifetime. I mean, so many people respect you. You've discovered so many artists. I have to know, I mean, is there a particular artist or a group of artists that you're like proudest of discovering?
Like saying, which of your kids you prefer? Do I remember each of them, from Joplin to Springsteen to Whitney to Alicia Santana? I do have vivid memories. I can't say which one I favor more. I remember Whitney's audition. I was reminiscing today with Alicia about the first time I saw her. Santana, I'm blessed. I've got many memories of some wonderful artists, and what's great is how long their careers are lasting. What's great is that Santana, I discovered in 69, you're talking about 53, 52 years ago. Springsteen, in 72, almost 50 years ago.
Yeah.
When you said you special memories, it's hard to say which one I favor more, but they certainly individually are very vivid indeed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you said that you vividly remembered Whitney's audition. What was so memorable about hers the first time that you heard her? I mean, she is the voice.
I auditioned Whitney. She was appearing in her mother's act at a club called Sweetwater in New York. And it was in about 1982 or 3. And she was doing backgrounds for Sissy, her mother, with her brother. And she stepped out to do, which means stepped out in front of them to do 2 solo numbers. And she did The Greatest Love of All, a song I had commissioned for the life of Muhammad Ali 8 years earlier that George Benson had recorded, and Home from the Wiz. And I've got to tell you, it was so incredibly special. I mean, I knew The Greatest Love of All from George and other artists who had covered it, but it was though I was hearing it for the first time. Her vocal genius, and that's what I'm looking to convey in the motion picture bio that we're about to start in production, the biopic of Whitney Houston, not to soft pedal it, not to whitewash anything, but the 2 documentaries that have come out on Whitney have been so narrow. Yes, she had a drug addiction. Yes, she fell to that drug addiction that she fought so hard to overcome. No one will whitewash that. It was tragic, but not to show what made her an inspiration to everybody in music throughout the world, not to show her vocal genius, not to show all the sides of Whitney, not just the one that if she gave a bad interview, you know, that you feel that that was Whitney. No, Whitney was loving music, was on top of every record when it came out. It was in her DNA. So it's the idea of showing the full spectrum of a person. Yes, the bad side that felled her, but also the other side that at the same time was and will always be an inspiration to those that love music.
Exactly. Well, I'm thrilled to see what you got put together, because I think you're right. Seeing a multi-dimensional version of Whitney and you know the best sides of her, I think, is what people really want to see. Well, thank you so much for sharing those memories. Seriously, that is touching and heartwarming, especially just knowing Whitney. And but you know, even beyond that, I know that a lot of people are looking forward to your gala. So I know that you know you've got a ton of stuff on your plate, but I appreciate you taking some time to talk to me. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Absolutely,
My pleasure.
absolutely. Great to talk with you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you for watching. If you want more extra, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll never miss a video.